Political commentator Bill Maher and actor John Stamos seem to be in agreement that some on the left have become too fixated on President Trump.
John Stamos, that's a name we don't hear all the time anymore. It's Uncle Jesse, right?
Yeah.
All right, Maher brought up the issue on the most recent episode of his Club Random podcast. He says he's tired of people who base their whole personality around being a Trump critic. Take a look.
It is a phenomenon we have never seen before.
Right.
That one person would dominate
Every
just the
conversation,
national
every dinner,
for
every
a decade.
yeah.
You know, but and I do think you have to fight that. Like I say, if that's your whole personality, is the first thing out of your mouth is, what are we going to do about Donald Trump? I just can't.
Now, Maher has been a frequent critic of Trump for some years, but for some have felt that he's not been quite as harsh on the president in his second term. He's joined Trump for a dinner at the White House earlier this year and said he would be glad to do so again. Maher's comments drew support from conservatives online. Businessman and radio host Bill Mitchell writes on X, "Good to see even a liberal like Maher call out the unhealthy fixation that's divided friends and families. Hardworking people want to focus on real issues, not endless hate."
Others felt that Maher's comments were hypocritical because of how frequently he himself has discussed and criticized Trump over the years. Some pointed back to comments he made in Trump's first term when Maher suggested a recession would be worth it if it meant Trump did not get reelected. Writer Art Tavana says on X, Bill Maher's literally the reason why MAGA invented the Trump derangement syndrome meme. He's the dictionary definition. He's the ground zero moment. I mean, okay, but he's changed a lot since then, and he's now a much more moderate commentator, one who I find interesting. What I think he's referring to here, you can still criticize Trump and not be Trump is your entire personality, but both,
It's saying entire personality is so funny to me.
Well, what he's referring to, I think, Bill Maher probably has dinner with fellow liberals, people who are more liberal than him, who are just so worked up with, older people. It tends to be this way. Are so worked up and so consumed by dislike of Trump or a support of Trump. There's a lot of people who feel that way too. I don't think younger people are as consumed with Trump. I think Trump is like an older person. You're devoted to liking or despising him is an older American phenomenon. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, and I think that when you look at...
Like Facebook, the repository of the boomers, that's where you get all this insane anti-Trump hysteria.
About Trump,
you don't get that on social media sites that are younger.
And if you look at Bill Maher and how much he was talking about President Trump in his first term, I think that there's a distinct difference between when Trump was president the first time and second time. The first time it was like this one-off situation that people thought, oh my gosh, when is this 4 years going to end? If you didn't like him, if you did like him, you were happy to see it. But by the time he left, there was this fatigue and we thought, okay, we'd never see him again. Good riddance, never get elected, whatever. When he got elected again, the same people that had all those thoughts in his first term had to grapple with the idea that half of the country, or more than half, enjoyed him as president and actually do like him or are okay with his antics enough to vote him in again. And then the conversation about berating the man every single day as your number one source and sitting at dinner tables and disassociating doesn't really land well anymore because you are in almost like the minority at this point. You might as well have a dialogue with the people who disagree with you to see what it is that they voted for and did like. And some people may realize that they got it very wrong by giving him another shot, especially if the economy or tariffs or everything doesn't go the way they want it to. Hopefully that's not the case because it will affect us all negatively. But what Bill Maher is saying, I think, and which I agree with, is the fact that we cannot sit here and just blame every single thing the same way I said about Trump on Biden. We can't do that about Trump every single day. It's like, oh my gosh, I hate Trump, I hate Trump. Okay, so what's the plan in place for the Democrats? Now, the Democrats lost, Kamala lost the election. We have to figure out what the next steps are. But the best next steps would be to have a clear strategy. Like Gavin Newsom, I find him to be very entertaining and hilarious. And he's meeting Trump with the same energy. And I think it's very, very entertaining. But at the same time, it's very, very entertaining. At the same time, I need strategy, though. Because what the problem is that the first time when Biden won, he ran on the fact that I'm not Trump. You want to get away from being Trump. That doesn't work anymore. Trump's not even in the race. And so the more that you kind of berate him and come up with no policies, the more that we get closer to 2028 and nobody knows what the plan is. No one knows what the agenda is. The agenda is I'm not Trump. And that's not a winning message. We saw that in 2024. That wasn't enough. to say that the democracy is at stake and Trump can't win, somebody Trump-aligned can't win, that's not going to win the election. So what are the strategies? What's the next conversation? I think that's where people need to be. And hopefully what Bill Maher is referring to is that the conversation has to progress and move on and be something about what the future will look like in your eyes.
Yeah, to return to my earlier point, I don't think it's certainly not as many people as in my social circles. I think Bill Maher's social circles are where it's consumed, the liberals consumed by anti-Trump animus. Like I was in Miami a few days ago for a little vacation. Went to a bunch of bars and restaurants and clubs, talked to young people. When it comes up that I work in media, I do a politics news show, then they ask me about politics and about news. I think I didn't have one conversation with someone. I met a fair number of people. I had a lot of conversations. It was like, what do you think about Mamdani? What do you think about Elon Musk? What do you think about Marjorie Taylor Greene? No one was like, for or against, was like, oh my God, Trump. I'm so worried about Trump. He's so awful. He's ruining everything. What are we going to do about Trump? Or was like, I love Trump, I worship Trump, tell me everything you know about Trump, oh my God, he's so great. Those were just not the conversations, because I was having conversations with young people.
Yes.
Older people, I think, evince those two perspectives.
It's almost like you're scared to say a word, because you'll be like, yeah, I work in politics, and anybody who's a little bit older, oh my God, we gotta get Trump out of it. Or yesterday, it literally happened to me, a man went on a rampage about how much he loves. He was trying to get more out of me, how much he loves Trump.
Taxi driver?
How did you know? Driver? Yes.
That was a guess.
That's correct. Yes.
It's always
he went on a rampage. Didn't even ask me my affiliation, which is like, you know what? And you should really leave politics or leave journalism, politics, and work for the Department of Homeland Security, because they are just doing a fantastic job. I was like, well, thank you. I don't know if I have the qualifications to work over there. I'm not really looking to change careers.
African?
No, he was an Indian man.
Indian? Okay.
Yes. You had a lot of experiences like this?
Taxi drivers who are immigrants from, I find, Africa, but also India, Middle East, are 99% Trump loving every time, is what I was
so blown away. I was like, wow, you really
demonstrated phenomenon.
He was like, yeah, he's doing a fantastic job. He didn't even ask me my opinion so much that he
No, they want to tell you.
I know you love him too. Yeah, I know you do.
Yeah, the cure, if you're in too many circles that have Trump derangement syndrome, the cure is to take a taxi to your next destination. Yeah, in DC.
Well, I got a spoonful of
meet with love of our president.
I was like, thank you for that. Good evening.
Does not surprise me.
Yeah, good evening.
We've all had that experience. All right, we've got a lot more to talk about on Rising. Please stay with us.